What's going on, guys? This is Double Hole, so welcome back to another Steam Deck gameplay video. And today I wanted to give an updated analysis and look at The Last of Us Part 1 running on the Steam Deck, because as you guys may have noticed, Naughty Dog has been dropping patches left and right recently to improve the performance on this game. Now, it still doesn't excuse the fact that this game did not run properly at first, but at least they're now addressing the problems and concerns that this game had at launch. Now, I am going to state in this video if it is playable, if I still recommend it. I'm going to give you guys sort of my review and final verdict, whether you should buy it, wait for sale, wait for if this game, it should officially get its verified or playable state. So as you guys know, the game is still technically unsupported on the Steam Deck, but really to kind of give an idea is the game is definitely a lot more playable than it was once before. So before I get into the game, let's get into some of the settings that we currently have. For compatibility issues, or compatibility, I have it set for GE Proton 8-3. You could do Proton Experimental. I personally found that neither of these, or whatever one you choose, really doesn't make a difference on the performance. I just probably wouldn't go anything lower than 7. But honestly, if you have any of these three, you're pretty much going to get pretty much the same the experience that I'm getting in this video. Now, to really sum it up too, I'm going to go into the graphics settings really quickly. I have the game running right here. As you see, this is obviously because it's on a pause menu, but I have it capped at, I think, 40 FPS at the moment, to really show you guys what I have on the display settings. It's running at a rendered resolution of 480 because of AMD FSR quality, and I'm keeping this at a 40 FPS frame rate cap with the VSync on and the 16:9 aspect ratio at 720p. Now, the reason I'm keeping the AMD on quality, I have played around with balanced performance and ultra performance, and I just feel like still the performance difference between these options is really very minimal. Like, you're really not getting that much of a difference, which is kind of a shame, to be honest, because I feel like anybody who wants to play with higher frame rates would want to go to performance or ultra performance. And to be fair, they have made performance look a lot better and a little bit cleaner than it did before, but I would definitely steer away from ultra performance unless you really like your game looking like came out of the PS2 era. Well, I'm exaggerating, but you get what I'm saying. So I'm gonna move that back up to quality, keep the sharpening at 40. In terms of all of the graphics settings, I have them on low. I keep everything pretty much on low. Anything that I can turn off that reduces the CPU usage, that's off. I also turned off motion blur, but since my last time of testing this video, they have a new visual effects settings called effect density, and I turned that to very low. And I feel like that is, and the same with ambient character density. And I feel like these settings alone have really contributed to some of the gameplay performance increases. So I'm here in the game. We're at about an average of 35, 36 FPS. And really, most areas of the game will stay above a 30 FPS now. And there might be some occasions where the game will hitch and drop a little bit, or there'll be cases where it might drop to, like 28 or 29. But it is safe to say that the game is now holding a 30 FPS a little bit better, and even peaks up to 40, depending on the scene, how many people are on the screen. So let's take out some of these. Let's take out some of these guards. As you guys see, the hitching is still there.
Heads up.
Yeah, of course, he threw a Molotov right at me, and I did not kill him. But yeah, basically to kind of sum it up here, I feel like the game is definitely in a more playable state. However, there are a couple complaints I still have about this, and why I would still technically recommend waiting until there's an official verification or playable check mark on the game. And I will explain those here in a minute. But to really also drive home the point that this game does not hold a 40 FPS yet, and the fact that I can't even attempt to get a 60 FPS is still kind of disappointing in my eyes. Like, I understand that I am playing this on a handheld gaming PC, and I should be taking what I get out of it, and not being an entitled, you know, handheld gamer. But when you have so many other games out there that are running at, you know, better performances or are more demanding and look better than this game. Good example is their most recent Resident Evil 4, or hell, even one of the other Sony exclusive games that came to PC, such as Days Gone. I feel like with enough experimentation, there's still no reason why Last of Us should have released in the state it is in, and why it is still not possible to get a solid 40 to 45 FPS leaning into like the 50s. So that's kind of that's one of my biggest complaints I have with it, besides the two that I was going to mention. One of the other issues that I've currently been running across is the lack of is actually, believe it or not, having some of the audio still crackling. Depending on the area, I still get moments where the audio just kind of crackles. It's very subtle, and it's very subtle and doesn't always happen, but it's noticeable when it does, and it kind of takes you away from that quality assurance for a game like this. Especially with a game that's this high caliber that you'd want to play either on the big screen or on the go. So, yeah. That is one of the other issues I was going to mention. The other big one that I've been really meaning to mention is the actual CPU and GPU usages out of this game. So you might notice that my RAM is still hitting a 10.1. And just to sort of emphasize something really quickly, you guys will also notice that I have the VRAM usage up to 8 gigabytes. Now, if you guys are curious on how to do that, that is something you go into the BIOS and you change your VRAM buffer size or something. I think from like 1 gigabyte to 4. And what it does is it gives you a minimum amount of GPU RAM to play with. So in this case, it's boosting my available VRAM usage to 8 gigs or 8 gigs rather than it being like 5 or 6. So that I think maybe has helped a little bit, but I don't know by how much. Let's see if I can snipe him. Sniped! The fact that the game does hold a 30 FPS now, and I can now use the trackpads to shoot, is a very, very good thing. Is it as flexible as if it was running at 60 or 40? No, but it does make it a lot more accessible than it did before. So I talked about the audio crackling. I talked about the GPU usage. I'm going to be honest with you too, when it comes to playing this game on the Steam Deck, the other two biggest caveats to playing this game is going to be battery life and how hot your Steam Deck gets. If you're playing this game on the go, I recommend getting a battery bank because this will deplete your system in a pretty quick amount of time. I'm going to try and run over here real fast. Boom. At least I have a shotgun now, a shotty. Alright. Let's, I don't even think that it matters. I'm gonna jump right into this guy who's... I think this guy's got a sniper that I've got to try and get. So the game has a little bit of hitching occasionally and still has some of the audio crackles. But to be fair, I mean, the game is playable. It is playable now. I just think that at the right time, this game still probably needs a couple more polished patches. And if they can try to do something where this game can run at a solid 40 to 45 frames per second, that will be, I think, the ultimate factor as to if I can recommend buying The Last of Us on the Steam Deck. So, yeah. Boom. Okay. I have to take this guy out really quickly. Damn. Just shank him to death. I totally remember this part. Where you just gotta, like, protect them while they're running after him. Alright. So yeah, as you guys see, frame rate kind of drops a little bit here. But I don't necessarily consider it unplayable. It really guess it depends on people's, people and how receptive they are to 30 FPS rather than 40 or 60. I mean, I played many games on my Nintendo Switch at 30 and less, so I kind of got used to it, but when I bought my Steam Deck, my biggest dream was playing games like The Last of Us and Uncharted, and I mean, I feel like those are pretty bad examples, but you know, games at that caliber at a 40 to 50 FPS, you know, at minimum, if I so wanted to. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just entitled entitled gamer who wants the most out of my out of all my devices, but I think we all do, to be honest. Oh shit! I actually thought that was just a cutscene that was just playing, and I passed, but apparently not. But yeah, I will give my verdict here in a minute. There's actually one more scene I want to show you that's very much got a huge improvement. Because this basically this pretty much sums up the video. But basically, the last piece of the puzzle I wanted to show you guys was a scene very early in the game where you're going through the rain, because I will tell you 100% at a fact that when playing this game during the rain segments, the rain segments was dropping the FPS like crazy. I did not get anything more than, I think, 20 FPS or 20 something FPS. So if this rain segment runs perfectly fine and flawless, I am going to be pretty happy. But yeah, battery life, make sure you have a battery bank. The system heat, it's not too bad as long as your hands aren't always going to be over the vents. I think you're going to be okay with that. Anyway, while I do this, what's my final verdict on The Last of Us Part 1 for the Steam Deck? Is it playable? I would say it is getting closer to playable. If you are somebody who doesn't mind 30 FPS gaming, yes, definitely consider picking it up. If not, and you must have it at 40 FPS or more, I would consider waiting, and I would consider not doing and waiting for it to be an actual full verified playable game, or wait for a sale. But if you wanted to just get into Last of Us right now and you have a Steam Deck and you didn't have a PS5 and you absolutely were impatient, could I recommend you going out and picking it up right now and having a decent time? Yes. It's fair to say that Last of Us right now is at a playable state at 30 FPS. But I'm someone who would probably wait for a sale if I did not buy this right now. Anyway, this is Double Pulse. Thank you guys for watching. I'm going to close the video off, and if you guys enjoyed it, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. I am signing out, and I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.